age would you say that you've become old? 60, 70, 80, or even 90? Or is it when you receive that letter from the DHS telling you how much pension you're going to get, and you exclaim with a typical Yorkshire expression, "How much?" Or is it when you gaze in the mirror and see your mother or your father looking back at you? However, if you're one of those lucky ones who managed to retire with a good lump sum before they changed all the pension requirements, what did you do with it? Perhaps you bought a little red car, went zooming all over the country. Or you went to see relatives in Australia and New Zealand. Or you decided to go to Antarctica, one-off journey to the Arctic or the African jungle. Or you did like my auntie did. She sold her house to her daughter and took this lump sum and decided to go on a world cruise. Now when she got to South Africa, because it was her 80th birthday, she decided she'd have a ride on an ostrich. Then when she got to Egypt, she thought she'd try camel riding. So by the time she got to Hawaii, she was feeling very confident. So she thought she'd have a go at this paragliding, where you had to sit in a little seat that was attached to a plane. And then when the plane took off, you went behind it. And when you'd had enough and you wanted to come down, you had to pull this yellow cord. But unfortunately, she hadn't got sat back properly in her seat, so she couldn't get hold of this yellow cord. So the plane went round and round, and Nancy went round and round. And all her fellow travellers on the ground shouting, "Get down, get down, we'll have your pension stopped. We'll get the RAF out." Anyway, she finally managed to get hold of this yellow cord and was brought down to earth safely. But she never stopped telling this tale. Now, nowadays, there's so many operations you can have for new knees and new hips and other joints that there's no need for anyone to suffer. But wouldn't it be wonderful if you could go to the doctors and ask for a complete new body? But what would they do with the old bodies, do you think? They'd probably just stack them up like they do old cars, and then a crane come and lift them up and squash them together. Well, at least that would create a new industry, packing bone meal. Now, it's only 100 years ago that people, when they got old, if there'd no relative to take them in, well, they had to go in the workhouse, which was a very harsh and cruel regime. And it said that in 1901, the Yorkshire Evening Press reported that the inmates of York Workhouse complained that potatoes were always black and the meat was just gristle. Now, fortunately, with the help of age concern and carers, people can stop in their own homes, couple can stop together. And it's said that happy is the woman whose husband happens to be an archaeologist, because the older she gets, the more interested he is in her. Now, as the global depression bites, pensioners, like anybody else, is trying to find their pensions don't go as far, so they're finding other ways. Some people leave their cars at home, or they grow vegetables if they're fit enough, nothing like homegrown vegetables, or they go abroad for the winter months. It's estimated it's cheaper to stop abroad and than pay your utility bills at home. And one lady I read about went the whole hog. She sold her house, put the money in the bank, and she spent the rest of her life on cruise ships. She had plenty of company, she had plenty of food to eat, and she didn't have to bother one bit about her bills. Let's hope she put her money in the right bank. Now, when older people get older, they want to feel needed. So some of them help charity work. And they got sorts of help with guides, taking people around old houses, and they help to keep the York cemetery nice and clean and tidy. And they've joined lots of groups and clubs. I believe there's a good speakers club in York they can join, and that would probably give them confidence to do other things. However, even though when you're older, you can't run as fast as you used to, and people perhaps look at you and think that you're old, and perhaps you might have a few wrinkles, or laughter lines, is what I like to call them. Inside, you're not old at all. Inside, you still feel as though you're 21. Because after all, old age is all in the mind.